You know what's absolutely insane? There's a country where software engineers making $80,000 a year need food banks to survive, where doctors wait 30 weeks just to treat their own patients, and where 66% of all tech graduates literally flee to another country like they're escaping a war zone. This isn't some third world nation I'm talking about. This is happening in one of the G7's richest countries, right now. And in exactly 47 seconds, I'm going to show you the one number that proves this country is collapsing faster than any developed nation in history. Meet Raj Sharma. 3 years ago, Raj was living the dream as a software engineer in Toronto, making decent money, working for a tech company, doing everything right. Then his college roommate called him from Texas with news that changed everything. Same job as Raj, same skills, but making literally double the salary. Not 20% more, not 50% more, double. Raj did the math. In Toronto, after paying $2,800 rent and $600 for groceries, he had enough money left over for exactly one coffee. Not per day, per month. One coffee. Meanwhile, his roommate in Austin just bought a house, with cash, after 18 months. Here's the thing that'll blow your mind. Albania has a higher homeownership rate than Toronto. Albania. The country most people can't even find on a map beats Canada's biggest city. And what's happening next is going to shock you even more. The average Canadian is now poorer than someone from Alabama. That's not a joke. That's government data. When Alabama, ALABAMA, offers a better quality of life than your entire country, you don't have an economy. You have an emergency. But before I tell you why 27,000 Canadians abandoned ship in just the first 3 months of 2025, you need to understand what's really destroying this country. Because it's not what you think. 3 things are systematically dismantling Canada from the inside out. The first one's obvious if you look at the numbers. The second one's happening so fast, even economists can't believe it. But the third one? The third one is so subtle, most Canadians don't even realize it's robbing them blind every single day. You know what Prime Minister Trudeau said in 2015? This is a real quote. Canada will be the first post-national state with no core identity. Well, congratulations, Justin. Mission accomplished. Canada's new identity is the country everyone's desperately trying to escape from. They violated the 3 most basic rules of economics that even a 5th grader could understand. First rule, when demand explodes and supply stays flat, prices go insane. What did Canada do? Imported 3 million new residents while building only 245,000 homes. My nephew could have predicted what happens next. Second rule, strong currency equals strong country. The Canadian dollar is now worth 71 cents American. That's not money anymore. That's monopoly cash with a maple leaf stamped on it. Third rule, if people wait 30 weeks for healthcare, that's not healthcare. That's healthcare theater. You might as well diagnose yourself on WebMD and cross your fingers. The government's brilliant solution to not having enough houses? Import more people. Because nothing solves "we're out of houses" like let's add 3 million people who need houses. That's like trying to lose weight by eating more cake. The logic is so backwards, it's actually impressive. Canada could have been America's successful cousin. While America was building Silicon Valley and creating the future, Canada was doing something way more sophisticated. They were selling houses to each other for increasingly stupid prices over and over. Like a pyramid scheme where everyone's both the scammer and the victim. The average house in Canada now costs $911,000. The average family makes $65,000. The income you actually need to afford that house? Over $200,000. The number of families making that much? Basically 0. The government's response? Everything's fine. It's like watching someone set their hair on fire and insist they're just staying warm. Housing in Toronto eats 66% of your income. 66%. In Alabama, it's 25%. When Alabama is crushing you on affordability, you don't have a housing market. You have a hostage situation. What happened next made 106,000 Canadians leave in a single year, the highest number since the 1960s. These aren't retirees moving to Florida for the weather. These are young, educated, productive people saying, "I'm out," faster than investors during a crypto crash. Raj didn't just dream about leaving. He interviewed with Google. The offer they made him? Sit down for this. $195,000 US, plus stock options, plus full benefits, plus they'd pay for his entire move, plus a signing bonus that was bigger than his Toronto savings account. The Canadian government saw this brain drain happening, and their solution was absolutely nothing. Zero. They formed a committee to discuss forming a committee to maybe think about possibly considering potential solutions. By 2030, maybe. Here's the data that should terrify every Canadian. 66% of software engineering graduates work in the United States. 2/3. That's not brain drain. That's brain hemorrhaging. That's your entire future tech industry packing up and leaving. Medical specialists in Canada make $300,000. Sounds good until you realize the same doctor makes $600,000 plus in America, with better equipment. And they can actually see patients without waiting half a year. In just the first quarter of 2025, 27,000 Canadians emigrated. That's up 54% from last year. These aren't normal numbers. This is an exodus. This is everyone with options heading for the exits. The timeline of denial is actually hilarious. 2019. Canada is the best country in the world. 2021. Okay, it's getting expensive. 2023. I literally cannot afford to exist here. 2025. I'm moving to Houston. Goodbye forever. Here's what nobody understands about brain drain. Once it starts, it accelerates exponentially. The first person who leaves tells their friends how much better life is. Those friends leave and tell their friends. Soon, everyone with talent is gone, and you're left with people who can't leave. That's not a country anymore. That's a geographic location with a flag. If this is making as much sense to you as it did when I first discovered these numbers, hit that like button and drop a comment about what shocked you most. Because more people need to know this is happening in a supposedly rich country. By month 6 in Texas, Raj discovered something that completely changed how he thought about money. And it involves the third problem that's happening right now while most Canadians are asleep. By 2024, Canada hit what economists call peak cope. Housing? Completely destroyed. $911,000 for a regular house, not a mansion. Healthcare? Absolutely wrecked. 30 weeks to see a specialist if you're lucky. Currency? Catastrophically devalued. 71 cents to the US dollar and falling like a stone. Talent? Gone. Everyone with a pulse and a passport already left. The Economist magazine, not exactly known for hot takes, called Canada the new Argentina. Which, honestly, that's insulting to Argentina. At least Argentina has good steak and weather that doesn't try to murder you half the year. Software developers making $80,000, good money anywhere else. Qualified for food banks in Vancouver. Food banks. These aren't unemployed people. These are skilled professionals who can't afford groceries. That's not an economy. That's a humanitarian crisis with maple syrup. The government announced everything is fine. Meanwhile, their own Statistics Canada showed GDP per capita falling for 6 straight quarters. Every Canadian got poorer for a year and a half straight. But sure, everything's fine. This is fine. We're all fine. Raj's parents called him from Toronto. "Son, come home. What about our free health care?" Raj literally laughed. "What good is free health care if you die waiting for it? I can see a specialist here tomorrow." Tomorrow. Not in 30 weeks. Tomorrow. Every country in decline says the exact same thing. We're different. It won't happen here. We're special. They were not special. They were not different. It happened there. It's happening right now. In exactly 10 seconds, I'm going to show you the number that proves Canada is transforming into something unrecognizable. This isn't opinion. This isn't politics. This is pure mathematical reality. And when you see it, you'll understand why the third problem is not just unstoppable. It's accelerating. Raj's first 6 months in Texas, he saved more money than he'd made total in 3 years in Toronto. Not earned, saved. After rent, food, everything. Because here's what Canadians don't realize. It's not about what you make, it's about what you keep. 3 things are making Canadians poor, and the third one is the silent killer nobody talks about. Thing number 1, the housing bubble. Prices up 337% since 2003. That's not growth. That's hallucination. Vancouver condos cost more per square foot than Manhattan. Manhattan, where billionaires live. Thing number 2, the brain drain. 25% of all technical graduates leave Canada. 1 in 4. Imagine training your smartest people and then watching them leave to make another country rich. That's like raising chickens and giving all the eggs to your neighbor. But thing number 3, this is the killer. Your money is becoming worthless. Not slowly, rapidly. The Canadian dollar lost 8% against the US dollar in 2024 alone. Everything imported, which is everything because Canada makes nothing, costs more. Your savings? Evaporating. Your purchasing power? Disappearing faster than affordable housing in Toronto. The government celebrates GDP is growing. Yeah, total GDP is growing because you imported 3 million people. Per capita? Down 1.4% in 2024. And every single Canadian got poorer. That's like celebrating weight gain while drowning. Currency collapse plus brain drain equals death spiral. It's arithmetic. And Canada's failing harder than a drunk person trying to solve calculus. The acceleration is wild. 2024, 106,000 Canadians left. 2025 projection, over 150,000. 2026 estimate, whoever can still afford a plane ticket. Let me paint you 2 pictures. Canadian in Toronto, spending 66% on housing, waiting 30 weeks for medical care, earning in a currency worth less every month, watching savings evaporate. Same Canadian moves to Texas, 25% on housing, same-day medical care, salary in the world's reserve currency, actually building wealth. It's not even a choice. It's an IQ test. Raj just bought a house. Not mortgage, cash. After 18 months in America. His Toronto friends? Still renting. Still waiting. Still coping. Still posting about how Canada is better because free healthcare while actively dying on a waiting list. The math that broke Canada. Population growth? 3% annually. Housing starts, actually down from 2021. Healthcare workers, leaving for America. Temperature, still freezing. Result, complete systematic failure. The government finally admits there's a crisis. Their solution? they're forming a commission to study it. The House is on fire, and they're scheduling a meeting to discuss water. When your educated population flees, you don't have a country anymore. You have a very cold retirement home with a flag and a hockey team. But here's where it gets really bad. Canada could have been America North. All the benefits, none of the problems. Instead, it became Argentina North with worse weather and more expensive housing. Australia's doing exactly what Canada did in 2015. Same playbook, same mistakes. New Zealand's trying it. Ireland too. The UK's considering it. It's like watching someone stick a fork in an electrical socket right after seeing their friend get electrocuted doing the exact same thing. Every country that tries mass immigration without infrastructure fails. Every single one. You need houses for people to live in. Revolutionary concept, right? Someone should tell the Canadian government. Maybe write it in crayon so they understand. Trudeau's legacy? The first G7 country to achieve voluntary reverse development. The first wealthy nation to speedrun becoming poor. History books will study this like the fall of Rome. Except Rome lasted 1,000 years, and Canada couldn't even make it to 200. The craziest part? It's accelerating. More people leaving faster. Prices rising quicker. Currency falling harder. Like watching a car crash where the driver keeps hitting the gas while insisting everything's under control. I interviewed Raj last week. Here's what he told me. Leaving Canada was like escaping a burning building. The smoke was GDP decline choking opportunity. The fire was housing costs burning through savings. The emergency exit? The US border. If you're Canadian, get out. Yesterday. The longer you wait, the less your Canadian dollars will be worth. It's not giving up on your country. Your country gave up on you first. If you're American, this is the greatest talent acquisition opportunity in history. Canadian talent is desperate, highly educated, speaks English, and will work for what you consider normal wages, but they consider life-changing money. If you're an investor, that 337% housing bubble built on hopes and dreams, when it pops, not if, when, it's going to make 2008 look like practice. Australia has 3% population growth and house prices up 20% yearly. Same disaster incoming. Ireland's doing it. New Zealand too. Same result because math doesn't care about your feelings. Winners leave sinking ships. Losers argue about deck chairs while water floods the cabin. Winners see reality. Losers see what they want. Winners move to Texas. Losers wait for things to get better in Toronto. Raj just hired 2 people last week. Both Canadian, both with master's degrees. Both practically crying with gratitude to escape Toronto. From Toronto brain drain to Austin brain gain. The Canadian government's response last week? They announced a plan to announce a plan. In 2026, to maybe implement something by 2030. By then, the last person leaving will need to turn off the lights. Actually, forget it. They probably can't afford electricity anyway. You have a choice. Stay and watch your purchasing power evaporate, or be like Raj and actually build wealth somewhere that rewards ambition instead of punishing it. I know which one 106,000 Canadians chose last year. If watching a G7 country economically implode while I explained exactly why made everything click for you, smash that subscribe button and drop a comment about which fact shocked you most. Because sometimes the best investment advice is knowing where not to invest. The first wave was the brave ones. The second wave is happening now, the smart ones. The third wave? That'll be everyone who can scrape together bus fare. The last one out of Canada won't need to turn off the lights. The power grid will probably have failed by then anyway.